Hi guys and girls, I'm Obsidian Ant and welcome to my Elite Dangerous live stream here. Good to see everyone here again on YouTube and Twitch today. Hello there Everett, good morning to you as well. Hey Delta Phoenix, Rio Creed, Starwin, Vic P, Misopause. I assume I've got your name there right. Very sorry, I'm terrible when it comes to saying names. Johnny and O'Neill, hey there, great to see you again. Right, what's the deal today? So, I wanted to do two things today, assuming we can get time in. Anagon, hey there. Assuming we can get time in. So the idea would be to, as you can see, I'm back on the start screen here. So, essentially what I want to do this week is put together a video telling people how to get from a Sidewinder up until their earlier ships and get a few million credits. So we're going to go through the very early stages of the game. So we'll do that for the first section of the live stream today, and then we'll move on and do a bit of deep core mining probably with my main account. So there we go. So yeah, good morning or good afternoon depending on where you all are at. So yeah, let's start from the beginning here. Assuming we can even type. Let's give our commander a name. We're going to start with a Horizon Sidewinder because we want to start on SLS Primus here, as it gives us a vehicle. Last Sight, the music you can see listed in the video description. You can see the names of the artists there. I think that should do it. I was just thinking whether or not just to go with the other one instead, but that's fine. New and there we go. I'll do for the ship name. And let's get going. Let's see what we can do. Now, the thing is with Elite is, you know, most of us here have been playing for a while. I assume anyway. Some longer than others. Some I know are pretty brand new players. Yeah, at least I've seen a lot of comments on that, both on the streams as well as on videos. But some people are right at the beginning as well. And the thing is, when you jump into Elite, it's still, despite having a starter mission, it's still not that easy to get into, I don't think. And I like to try and help out players where and when I can with that sort of thing. We got the blue HUD here. I forgot to change it back to orange today, but it doesn't matter. We go with this colour here. I didn't delete the account. This is just an older spare one that I didn't have used. I didn't want to delete any account, to be perfectly honest. Although it doesn't take that long to get anywhere nowadays. Will I be doing more Distant Worlds 2 streams? I will indeed. Don't worry about that. Right, so yeah, the first thing a new player will probably do when they jump into the game is have a look at Starport services or launch. Ah, Barkfield, sorry to hear it's only 20 minutes, but glad to see you're here for 20 minutes anyway. I really appreciate that. Hey there, Commander Soundo. Great to see you. So yeah, the first thing we'll do in station services, I think, is, you know, I try and look at this from the point of view of a new player. I mean, even this is pretty overwhelming. And correct me if I'm wrong here, because you know, I've been playing for a few years, and it's sometimes you try and look at it through the eyes of a new player, and maybe I'm seeing it wrong, but these things, they're fairly self-explanatory in many ways. You've got the commodities market, a mission board, and someone who jumps into Elite, they know there's a variety of professions here, and they may want to make a bit of money. Obviously, they've only got 1,000 credits, so what do we do first? Let's have a look at the mission board. So yeah, the idea here is that what we're doing today in the live stream will transfer through to a tutorial video of some type. Hey there, Commander Stargazer. So yeah, look at the prices here of all the rewards rather of some of these missions. You think, yeah, we could make some money here pretty quickly, but the truth is that things like massacre missions, you're not going to be able to do this in a Sidewinder, I don't think, at least not very easily. And the other problem is get into the locations. So yeah, 362,000. Yeah, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? But not going to happen very easily. What else have we got? 1.9 million credits for eliminating 2 pirates, or disable the power grid settlement. Now that's something possibly you could do if you're a new player, but there's not really any information on explaining how that can happen or how you'd go about doing that, so you may want a bit of experience before you go and do that, but it is an option. And these missions, of course, we haven't got the requirements for. Outbreak data transportation. Now there's one that's very easy. You could do this in a Sidewinder without any problem. All you got to do is transfer the data to another system, but here's a problem. You can't reach it. In the starter ship, you've got no way of actually getting to that location. So ultimately, all of this makes the mission board pretty useless for a new player. This is, by new player I mean someone who's literally just jumped straight into the game. Outbreak Aid needs 6 units of combat stabilizers. So if you're going to do that mission, it means you've got to purchase stuff. I have a look at the screen here to purchase stuff, and we can see most of the commodities here are very close to or beyond the amount of money that we've actually got. And even if we could afford some of these, we don't know where to go sell them to make a profit. We could look at the galaxy map, but we're not going to be able to reach those stations either. So my opinion at least is that for a new player, both the commodities market, the missions board, and of course the passenger lounge are completely useless. Universal cartographics, selling exploration data, well that's a good place to start potentially. But the issue here is that once again, you can't really travel anywhere. I've got 6.2 light years on this Sidewinder, so we could go to Dahan and scan these systems, or Erenin and scan the system there. But the problem then is, we got a mission there. Oh, that'd be the starter mission. The problem there is that you need to travel over 20 light years to actually sell the data. So that's a problem as well. That means basically right out the bat, all of these items here are useless to a new player. Outfitting is no good. Shipyard is no good. Advanced maintenance is no good. So how then do we get ourselves a bit of money? So yeah, Road to Riches, Darren Hall mentioning there in chat, that will be where we want to go, but we need to get a FSD first, because we need to improve the range of our ship. So, for Eternal, we look at the FSD here, Frameshift drive, we want to buy a 2A, the others don't really give us the range that we really need. I mean, any of these are better than what we've got, but 2A is what we really want, and those are 160,000 credits. So yeah, as long-time gamers pointing out, play tag in the high res, which is where we're going to go. So let's have a look at our system instead and see if we can find something like that here in Acellus Primus. Maybe Acellus 3 will have some resource extraction sites. So you know, it's kind of a shame in a lot of ways. It's not really optimal, I don't think, for a lot of new players still. Let's just quickly get through this. There we go. So that's a lot shorter than it was at one point ages ago. Knuckles the third. No, this is just a spare account. We're just going to go through the makings of a quick tutorial for some new players here. So, yeah, just a bit of a live stream here. You can watch me playing around with the Sidewinder here. But the idea is that I'll be making some of this footage into a tutorial for players. I think it's a nice area, though, to start out in here, Acellus Primus. It gives you straight away a nice sense of scale for how things are here in Elite, set down in this crater. Cosmic Murmur, thank you. I'm glad you found the videos helpful there. Yeah, I too. I hold out hope for PSVR for Elite, but personally I just don't see it happening now, to be perfectly honest. But you never know. The English Adventurer. I play on solo, private group and open. It just depends on what I'm doing. So yeah, as Sergurio pointed out, there is a starting mission here. You get the Welcome Commander mission. That does explain some of this, and I've gone through this on a video before, detailing some of exactly how that works. And it is a much better start for new players and how things actually work, and it carries you through quite a lot of different systems for the game and different mechanics. But ultimately, it doesn't really give you a huge amount of money, so really depends on how you want to get going. And even after that, you're still going to be wondering, right, what can I do now to get some money? So the idea of this is just to help players get out of a Sidewinder, see what it's like, how quick we get out of Sidewinder into a slightly bigger ship. I still like the Sidewinder though. It's one of my favourite ships in the game in many ways. Box booms, thank you, very welcome. Alright, so Celes Primus 3, not too far away. Hopefully there's some resource extraction sites out there. And of course, at the new ship you do start off with some weapons here. Very basic, we're not going to do much. And you're probably going to see me explode 1 or 2 times. I tend to tag the wrong ship and end up getting killed, but that's just the way it goes, I guess. Korean music. Yes, I'm going to go do a bit of bounty hunting in the extraction sites. We just need to get over there. Coffee and vapes. Keep meaning to actually go back and play in GTA 5 actually, but yeah, glad you're enjoying Elite. Let's see, just trying out the Sidewinder here, just starting again very briefly just because we're seeing how quick we can get out of the Sidewinder here. Box booms, what do you mean about thoughts on having your own ability to plot waypoints in the galaxy map? We can do that already, can't we? Unless you mean something else? Megahertz, I'm doing fine today, thank you. How are you? Matty, one of the best ways to earn money at the moment is probably deep core mining, void opal mining. You can get probably 100 million an hour quite quickly in that. Minimum 50 million an hour, 50 million an hour without too much effort. Box booms, the waypoint auto-generates. I'm not sure I really understand what you mean. I mean multiple waypoints. You can choose a destination on the galaxy map and it will plot a route for you. Are you saying you'd like the ability to have plot multiple destinations on the galaxy map? Right, we've got a bunch of resource extraction sites here. Unfortunately, these are all low ones, which means they're going to be low pay. There's no high ones here. Hazardous you can go to, but you're not going to get any security help here. So, kind of a little bit of a cheat here. We're going to the medium one, the regular size one. It's kind of a little bit of a cheat because we jump in here and tag some of the ships and wait for the security forces to help us out with destroying them. We can then go back in and get a bit of money for doing that. Jade Rabbit, what do I think of Space Legs? I think Space Legs would be a really nice addition to the game, but I want to see other things before that. Stuart, hey there. Another new start, yes. Got to admit the accounts have been pretty cheap lately, and there's plenty of new players coming along, so time to make a few new player guides for everyone. Dragon, the Distant Worlds 2 ship, is still out there in the Omega Nebula. It's doing perfectly fine. We're just back here in the bubble for a little while, just so we can do a few different activities, as the next waypoint of Distant Worlds 2 isn't been revealed yet, so there's not much to be doing, aside from a bit of mining out there. And I do know, I just heard that the community goal for mining out in the Omega Nebula is actually just completed relatively recently, a few hours ago, a few minutes ago. Got all out to tier 11, so yeah, doing pretty good. I just like collecting game accounts. Yeah, I'm a bit of a collector's nerd. Darren Hall, do I expect the new updates beyond are going to include space legs? I really don't know. I'd like to think so, but like I say, personally, I'd like to see atmospheric planets first. I'm really hoping we see some large updates this year. I mean, been waiting for space legs for a pretty long time. In some ways, we can't complain. I mean, Beyond has been a significant update, and we got a lot of content last year, even though the early part of you may remember me complaining about it more than once. The early part of the year, the first three quarters of the year actually, were pretty low in terms of content. Chapter 1 for Beyond was quite good. 2 and 3 I think were very poor, though we were expecting that. Chapter 4 was very, very good, and it's got a lot of people back into the game, and rightly so. But it's been a long time since we've had a significant update like Planetary Landing, so personally that's what I'm really waiting for. Right, so this is what we do then. We wait for the security forces to start attacking some ships, and then we wait for its hull to go down a little bit, and we can start joining in. Once you've tagged it a couple of times here, you'll get a bounty payout for it. You don't have to actually fully kill it yourself. There we go. 220,000, no, 220,000, I wish. 22,000 credits. Not too bad. You can always stop here and get the materials if you want. But let's just fly around and follow the security services again. Jade Rabbit, atmospheric planets, forget about that. Why do you think forget about the atmospheric planets? Just curious why you saying that. Vic P, we'll try and figure that out in this live stream for how many credits you need to start mining. You should be able to do it with around about 10 million, probably. A reasonably decent build. You could probably do it with less. A lot less, but once you've got 10 million credits or so, you'll be able to mine very, very easily. Right, this ship is going to get us a bit of a larger power, but we're going to have to wait for it to be shot at a bit more, because if we start shooting at it now, chances are it's going to turn its weapons on us and make very short work of us in this Sidewinder. Aquatic Borealis, surface mining is definitely something that I want to see for sure. Kind of remember Frontier Elite 2, when it come to that, you had some drones that you could leave behind on the planet's surfaces, and that was pretty neat. They'd do some mining for you, and then you would come back and collect them later on. Look at this, the last 1%, and it's not going to explode. There we go. Right. So the idea today is just to get to 160,000 credits so we can buy the upgraded FSD. As soon as we've got that, we're good to go and earn money in a slightly different way. We might go and earn a little bit more. Let's keep following the security forces for now. Wherever they went, I don't know where they went. So basically the security forces are just doing the job of bounty hunters here in a lot of ways. They're just going around the area scanning for hostile ships, and they will attack anything that's wanted. And you can just join in and help them out. Sergeant Stubby, new SRVs. 100%, would love to see that. I do think we'd probably need some more content before that happens. Aaron, hello there. Nice to see you again. So, Commander Buxton, we're just starting out in a new ship here, very briefly, just to put together a... Well, essentially I want to work on a tutorial that I'm going to release later this week. So I'm going to capture some footage here and turn some of this into that tutorial. The idea is to help new players get out of their Sidewinder, so they're not in it for too long. We'll do a tractor beam in Elite 2. Not that I remember, unless I'm completely wrong. Jack, this is an alt account? Yep. Now the other trouble is here sometimes when you're in these extraction sites is that you just get tons and tons of system authority vessels spawning in and very little in the way of wanted ships. Ian Norton, exactly. Mapping planets is a good way to earn money, but you can't do that the instant you start out because you haven't got the jump range to sell the data. You need to travel 20 light years away from the system that you scanned before you can sell the data, and you can't do that with the Sidewinder because the start Sidewinder is less than or around 7 light years in jump range, and you just can't plot those jump routes far enough. So you need to get enough to upgrade the FSD. Yep, Commander Buxton, the community goal is completed now, the mining section for it at least. I don't know how the bounty hunting one on that stands. It'd be pretty interesting to hear though. Does anyone know how the bounty hunting community goal is doing out in the Omega Nebula? Mad Mags, hello there. Darth, unfortunately, no, I don't know any ways to grind Empire rank currently, especially if that system's not working anymore. It's been quite a while since I last took a look at that, but I'll go back and have a look at that at some point, I think. Alright, well, it's not looking like there's much going on here now, does it? Just all enforcers and system authorities. So up to tier 4, Commander Buxton, and thanks John as well, just also saying tier 4. Great to know the mining event is done though. So there's a federal dropship over here, possibly a candidate for a wanted ship, but whether or not they see it, oh, they've seen it at the same time as me. Let's see how long it lasts. Now once we get this, we should have enough money to go and get that FSD, so that would mean just shooting 3 ships and we've got plenty of cash, but of course we're not going to start shooting at it yet until it's a bit more damaged, because like I say, it's going to make really short work of the Sidewinder here. Good point, Commander Stargazer. Make sure you've got nothing in your cargo hold here, because if you're carrying any commodities or any goods, then all these wanted fellows are gonna keep shooting at you and attacking you, which you don't want to happen. You want to be remain completely neutral here and only attack them when you're good and ready, because basically they won't attack you until you're ready to attack them. Basically they'll leave you alone until you start shooting at them. Come on, where's the rest of the ships here? Looks like there's just only 1 or 2 authority vessels attacking this one at the moment. The others are snacking. In fact, that might not be an authority ship attacking it. Come on, authority people, what are you doing? Looks like this guy needs your help. Oh, that's Federation. Oh no, I thought I'd selected the ship there. So Flame Wing, you will need a fuel scoop, but a fuel scoop's no good if your ship hasn't got the range. Because basically when you start out, your jump range is so low that you simply cannot jump beyond the select few systems from where you start out. So even if you can refuel, you just haven't got the range to make it out to where you need to get to. I mean, you can do everything you need to do in a Sidewinder. Some people will upgrade to a Cobra as soon as they got the money, but personally I don't do that. I just stay in a Sidewinder until I've got quite a few million, and then upgrade to a decent mid-sized ship, an Asp Explorer or something like that. Oh wow, we're just going to keep waiting here for this one to get attacked by authority vessels. Looks like they're going to leave it alone. Probably what will happen in the end is it'll just jump away if people keep chipping away at it this slowly. Looks like he's destroyed his target. Here, Norton, you can indeed start deep core mining in an adder. It's another option. But obviously you need to get the money together first before you can buy the equipment and do all that. In fact, it'd be worth looking to see if there's any void opal or hotspots here in Ceres Primus, which is a starter system. I don't know what sort of hotspots are here, I've never checked. Flying Waffle, I used to play Elite in VR all the time, a lot less so nowadays. Looks like they're going to leave this ship alone, doesn't it? Come on, because we only want this one more ship. What's our credit balance? Oh, we don't know yet. 157,000, so slightly shy of where we need to be at. We need 160,000. Murtog, what's the best ship to mine in? Personally, I think the Python is a very good ship to mine in. He just crashed into the asteroid, didn't he? So for those just asking, it's a new start because this is putting together a tutorial for helping people get out of a Sidewinder. There's a lot of new players around at the moment. Shade, this isn't the bounty hunting community goal, no. We're just waiting for someone to come over and start tagging this federal gunship for us. And no one's doing it yet. So we may have to leave this one and move on to another ship. I know if I shoot it and it starts shooting me, we'll probably get some assistance pretty quick, but the trouble is it will take my shields down and my hull down very, very quickly. Might be better just to go back and follow the system authority vessels along again. Looks like this one's flown quite away from the system authority vessels, unfortunately. JD Rabbit, yes, there is indeed a bunch of new players, surprisingly. In fact, there's more people playing Elite now than pretty much there ever has been. If you check any of the stats out there, you'll see the average concurrent players is very, very high at the moment. In fact, January or December has been its highest ever for average concurrent for the month. There we go. This is what we were after. And this is what we don't want, is trying to escape. There we go. Good chunk of money. Hey there, Corpse Necromums. I'm doing good today, thanks. How are you? Right, well that does that. So we're good to fly off now and go get this money. Let's have a look for the station. This one will do. Beagle 2 Landing. One of the first stations that was ever put into Elite Dangerous. Commander Raptor. Indeed, yep. Pinball, yeah, you can make money very quickly nowadays. It's not at all what it was like pre-Horizons. You're spot on there. Especially with the arrival of Chapter 4, things are a lot different now. Okay, Everett, I'll catch you soon, okay? Thanks for stopping by. Tom, I wouldn't say it's too easy to make money now. I would say it is quite easy to make money now, but, you know, it's fine. I think this is how the game should have been all along. Carabundum, I've got about 6 or 7 accounts in various states of play dotted around the galaxy. So Tal, that's exactly what the point of this live stream is today. You're asking, because the video that I'm making will address your question there. You're asking what missions should you do in a Sidewinder. Depends on what you've got in the Sidewinder, if you've upgraded it at all. If you haven't upgraded it, well, there isn't any missions you can do at all in a Sidewinder, unfortunately. What you'll have to do is what I've done here, a little bit of bounty hunting. It's pretty much the only way to start out. Either that or follow the, if you're right at the start, just follow the new mission that you get right at the start there. If you're right at the start, you get a new mission here in the Transactions tab, the Welcome Commander mission, and that will follow you through a little chain of missions, which will help you out a bit. So if you're on a stock Sidewinder and you haven't got much credits, you've got no money to upgrade, then you're going to have to do a little bit of bounty hunting, really. It's one of the only ways to really make money right at the start. You might get lucky and find a few good missions, but either way, even if you want to do missions, you're still going to need to upgrade the FSD so you get a better jump range so that you can do most of the missions. So cargo delivery missions and data delivery missions are a good start, but they're no good if you're in a stock Sidewinder, because you're not going to be able to take those missions and do them. You'll be able to accept the missions, but you won't have the jump range to be able to do them, because you won't be able to reach the destinations at Carabundum, as we proved right at the start of the stream. Was the first thing we looked at here. All the data delivery missions you get right at the beginning, you simply just cannot do them. You just don't, your ship doesn't have the jump range for them. So whatever you want to do, when you start out, you're going to need a improved jump range. You're going to need money. And as you can't get that from missions, and you can't get that from trading early on, because you don't have the jump range, then really that only leaves you with a bit of bounty hunting. There are probably other ways if you want to be extremely patient and persevere, looking for different missions and trying this and trying that, but they will take quite a lot of time, and they might lead to a little bit of frustration depending on how you actually play. So Keith, yes, you can bounty hunt with a stock Sidewinder, which is exactly why we were doing this here. Right, so let's hand in this money, these bounty vouchers. Wrong one. There we go, 241,000 credits. That's more than enough for what we need right now. And we go down to outfitting and increase the FSD. Optional 0, yeah, the whole week of setting up keybinds and custom controls and all the rest of it, that does take a lot of time. And getting used to the landing. The first time I used a HOTUS and tried to dock at a station was a little bit on the crazy side. Now I don't know if there is the size FSD at this station that we want. We might have to go back to that. Yep, we got it. That's good. So this puts us up to 13.6 light years, which is perfect. And if you want a little bit more jump range, if you're starting out with the planetary hangar, you can actually store that and increase it just a little bit more. Actually, quite a significant bit more. So that is one other option. If you get rid of the SRV bay, then that's something I will point out in the video. If you get rid of the SRV bay, you could probably do some of the early missions. But again, they take time. So data delivery missions will be another way instead of doing the bounty tagging that I was just doing. And that's assuming you get rid of the SRV bay. So well worth pointing out. Hello there, Matt. Nice to see you. Right, so how many credits we got now? We've got 82,000 credits. So what we're going to do now is, let's just have a look at the mission board here again very quickly. But some of these, as people were pointing out, data transportation. Sigma Bootis is 19 light years. Outbreak data transportation, and again 19 light years. They're not a huge amount of money, but you could do a bunch of these. And right about now, you should have enough money to that's the previous destination that we were trying to select, I think. There we go. So yeah, once you've got this, once you've got your FSD upgraded, you should be able to go pretty much anywhere you want. Any word on the squadron controlled stations? Killer, there wasn't ever any squadron controlled stations planned. I think you may be thinking of carriers. If you mean carriers, there's no word on that at the moment, unfortunately. Right, so yeah, we can do submissions at this point now, but that's not the way I'm going to make money right here. I'm using a HOTUS Dazza. And let's swap over to another screen here. And we've got Road to Riches. Either one of these websites is actually good. Personally, I use this one. So Road to Riches is all about exploration, using your scanner to sell the data, and you get pretty good data very, very quickly nowadays. Let's have a look at the other one, actually. Wow, I'm clicking the same one. There we go. So you've got two websites you can use here. This one's Alpha Orbital, or Road to Riches Pathfinder, which some people like to use, and other people like to use the other one here. So yeah, just type Road to Riches into Google, or look at the links that I'll put in the video description. On this one, you can just type in your starter system, and we're in Acellus Primus. We can choose the jump range of our ship, which I think was 17 light years, wasn't it? We set a radius, it doesn't really matter what it is. We just put 100 in there, and we want to find a maximum of 100 other systems to look for. And that will just find us 10 systems there. Or you can set a destination, it will probably find you a few more. This is fine. It should tell you the amount of jumps that you've got to go. So 5 jumps to start with, then 7, then 1, then 6, then 4, and so on. And that will get us around about 5.5 million credits, or so this claims. I'm not sure if this has actually been updated to reflect the new information. Did I get a detailed surface scanner? Carabundum, you don't need to get a detailed surface scanner because that's included with all ships by default now. You no longer need to buy a detailed surface scanner. So detailed surface scanners are for probe launching, which I haven't got enough money for because this is a brand new account. We don't have enough money for that at the moment. So we're just going to use the FSS, or the full system, or the full spectrum scanner, I think it's called, isn't it? So the detailed surface scanner, Carabundum, is, we're going to need a fuel scoop, is now a probe launcher. So it does something completely different. So, dear. Leriana, yes, the detailed surface scanner is the probe launch module, and it's not built in. But the detailed surface scanner doesn't have the same functionality that it once did. The detailed surface scanner used to scan the surface of planets, but it no longer scans the surface of planets. It actually launches probes now, which allows you to find geological surface features. The old detailed surface scanner, which used to give you all the planetary details, is now accessible through the FSS, so you don't need the DSS. Carabundum, mapping gives you a little bit more money, but it's not worth the amount of time really that it takes you to go over to the planet and get it. And yeah, as pointed out there, I did forget the fuel scoop. I really wish Frontier renamed the detailed surface scanner, because it leads to a lot of confusion. People keep thinking that it's something that it's not. That's going to take a very long time to scoop fuel with, but hang on, let's have a look at EDDB and see where we can find another fuel scoop. So there may be people that are not used to this. We'll go back to this website again. This is eddb.io, a completely different website. And it can tell you, you can use this to find out where certain modules are stocked. In this case, we want to find a size 2B or 2C fuel scoop. Can't remember how much a 2C costs. Right, 2C. Let's have a look what else they got. 2C, 2D, just in case. Good, looks like Watson's Hub has got, or Whitson Hub rather, has got what we need. So we'd go there. If there's not too many jumps, 10 light years, we can make that easy. So Scott Kidder, yep, mapping Earth-likes and water worlds is definitely worth it. I wasn't saying not to do it, just that you don't need to do it initially when you're starting out on a brand new account here. Don't forget, I'm in a Sidewinder here. I've got next to no money, certainly not got enough money to buy the detailed surface scanner yet. Stella, I don't think there's been any mentions of the Galaxy map and improvements on VR. That's been a long-standing issue with the game, and I really wish it was fixed, but it doesn't seem to be happening at the moment. So Elite Dangerous was on sale, Carabundum, on the Humble Bundle store. I don't know if it still is. It's actually where I got this copy from. No, Caxon, my main account is not stuck on the Distant Worlds Voyage. I've got another account for Distant Worlds too.
You've now exceeded the no-fire zone. Safe travels, Commander.
Unfunded Karma. Yep, doing well, thanks. How are you? Life and Times. If you're talking to me there, I don't actually take friend requests in game anymore. I'd get far too many of them to actually be of any use to anyone. So if you want to come and chat with me, do come along to the Discord server. I'm in there every day, always talking with people. So it's a great little community there. So if you want to chat, do come along and join in there. Thank you for the link there, Raptor. So Adrian, what's my role on Distant Worlds 2? Just a standard explorer, and I've also gone along on the media role as well. Flamewing, did I use the Humble Bundle code on a separate Steam account? I did indeed. Caligula. There we go. Got your name right in the end. Nice to see you here as well. Thank you. Yeah, Carabundum, the Humble Bundle sale I think only recently ended a few days back, so I haven't missed it by too long. Hopefully Frontier will put another sale on for their anniversary. It would make sense to do that. Matt Kelland, I don't know if I'll stream the entirety of the Distant Worlds 2 because it's a long time, but I'll stream as much of it as I possibly can. Lucas, hello there. Yeah, the PlayStation certainly feels quite a bit different to the PC in many ways. I agree with you there, but I think they're both very good. I play on the PlayStation as well. Dominic, we'll go through that in just a bit. I'll show you some deep core mining a little bit further into the live stream. Hopefully we got some time for it. Looking at the time now, I think we've got plenty of time for that. Spot on there, Les. Yep. So I'm always reluctant to delete my other characters, which is the reason for this. They're dotted around the galaxy and other locations, and it just feels a shame to delete them. So when I want to make new videos, like what we're working on here today, we're going to put some of this content into a tutorial for new players, as there's a lot of new players. Shade. What kind of events do I think will happen on Distant Worlds 2? Well, honestly, I don't know. I'd like to think that there are some stuff planned, or is some stuff planned for that. I'd be very, very surprised if there's not any new discoveries to be made. There's a sheer amount of players going along, exploring areas of the galaxy where people generally tend not to go. I'd be very surprised if there's not some new discoveries made. Some, whether they're biological or geological or whatever, down on the surface of planets, or whether they're in Lagrange clouds. People talking about the performance of Elite working on a what spec it works on. I'm actually running on a 980 Ti here, so for Elite at least I don't need a better graphics card than that. In fact, Elite tends to work really well on most specs PCs that I've seen. Whoa, I've pressed the wrong button there. That was the external cam. Don't press the external cam button when you want to leave Super Cruise, because it doesn't do the job. But yeah, I found Elite works on pretty much quite low specs. It works on my laptop pretty fine, which is pretty good. Matt Kelland, it's totally cool. I appreciate any support I get. All very, very welcome and very much appreciated, so thank you. Elite Strawberry will work perfectly fine on a GTX 960, as you point out. Yeah, I actually play it on a GTX 1050 as well on my laptop, which plays it very well.
Access granted. Adjust heading for approach to pad 4-3.
Digitash, I don't think a GTX 1050 is better than a 1060, a 960 rather. Unless I'm completely wrong on that, but the last time I checked, unless I was looking at the wrong thing, the 960 was better than a 1050. Right, we want the fuel scoop here.
Welcome to our starboard, Commander.
Because without the fuel scoop, we're not doing any Distant Worlds. Yeah, 950 Ti, or 1050 Ti rather, Raptor. That's quite a bit more powerful than a regular 1050. You're spot on there. What laptop do I have? An Omin HP. I can't remember the spec though. Right, let's see what fuel scoop we can actually afford here. We don't want a fuel tank, we want a fuel scoop. So yeah, 2B, that's perfect. Now, one thing you always do have to watch out for, anyone to tell you the first rule of Elite is to don't fly without rebuy, and you can see we're slightly short of the rebuy cost here, but you will get a bit of insurance this early on in the game, so you don't have to worry too much. Yeah, Killer Training, the 980s are still pretty good cards. I think people see the number 9 and they think, oh, well, that's a 4-year-old card or whatever it is, 5 or 6-year-old card. I don't know how old the 9 series is now, actually. The funny thing is, gaming requirements didn't really take a jump when the recent cards come out, so if you're still playing the same games, it still works just as good.
Detach confirmed. Restrict speed until clear of the station.
Right, now we can use the Road to Riches information that we got a moment ago. So Road to Riches told us that the first system we need to go to is Trappist 1.
Oncoming traffic.
And that's where we're going to head to. Hey there, Vincent. Hey there, Colin Mack. Nice to see you again. There's a few jumps to get there, to Trappist 1, but once we're there, it's only a few jumps to the other systems. So again, just keep in mind, we're in a starting account here. We're putting together a guide for some new players. So the ship isn't optimal. It's stock Sidewinder now with an upgraded FSD. The best FSD you can get for the Sidewinder, and a fuel scoop. That's literally all we've got. And now we're heading out onto the Road to Riches to see about making a bit of money and getting ourselves out of the Sidewinder. Right, one thing you do want to do is bind the fire groups. It does help. Let me scan along the way. Could you still get money for scanning like this? The old honk and jump still pays out. What's the current jump range? 17 light years, I think. Yeah, 17.4 light years. So they're more than enough in a starter ship to get you where you need to go and start making money. It's the stock Sidewinder that's not really very useful. So Chile, as we pointed out at the start of the stream there, would it be better to show the new players how the new missions work rather than using the Road to Riches to skip over them? So you do have a very valid point there, because Road to Riches does skip over the missions, but right at the very start of the stream, and you might have missed it, I opened the stream by proving that you can't actually do most of the missions in a starter ship. We need a bit more fuel here. It's actually one thing you do want to do is set to only scoop from fuelable stars. That does help. Let's hope we've not got ourselves stuck here. Yeah, so yeah, no worries, Chili. I don't mind at all. You're more than welcome to put your thoughts down in chat. That's the whole point of me doing these live streams, so I can talk with people. So as I was saying, most of the start missions you really can't do with a Sidewinder. Not very easy. They simply don't have the jump range for one, and after that the ship just, well, it depends what missions that the mission board actually offers. Some of the missions, it will give you things like shooting down pirates. There was a whole bunch of them, which you're not going to be able to do in a Sidewinder. Other ones are source some cargo, which you can't do because you can't afford to buy the cargo. And there's data delivery missions, which you could possibly do if they're close enough. But the unfortunate side effect of having the stock Sidewinder is that the jump range often isn't good enough to actually get you what you need. But it's a good point anyway. It'll be something I address in other videos for sure. Nimby Mouth, you can do power down missions, definitely, although again you need the jump range to get to those locations, and they may be not that intuitive for brand new players. They're definitely things that are worth talking about, worth covering over, going on. Chile, exactly. Once you're out the Sidewinder, the game opens up quite a bit. So Laz, what ship will I get into after Sidewinder this time? I'm not sure. I think really this part of the live stream is just about showing how you can get out of the Sidewinder and into another ship without having to spend too much time struggling on some of the missions that you might not be able to do in this ship. I do know, after looking at some of the comments I see on my videos a lot, looking around the forums from time to time, you see a lot of frustrated players, especially new players, who have tried all the starting activities in the Sidewinder and they find they just can't get anywhere. So really the aim here is just to help those players get out of the Sidewinder and into a ship where they can do a lot of the other fun activities the game has. Uncle Double Double, that's a nice name. What's my favourite ship in the game? Without doubt it's the Cobra Mark III. It's just not a practical ship for doing everything, unfortunately, although it's very, very good for its class. I mean, the other point is, of course, you know, not to diss the Sidewinder too much, because it still is a pretty good ship. It's just getting out of its stock. I think you're faced with these options where, as a new player, if you don't know the game, you wonder how to upgrade it or how to get out of it. And I can perfectly understand people when they say they feel as though they're kind of facing a brick wall. They don't know which way to turn. They don't know how to upgrade the ship. Alright, we're nearly at Trappist 1 here. Yeah, digital. The Sidewinder's not a bad ship by any means. It is one of my favourite ships. In fact, it's a huge ton of fun to fly in VR. In fact, the Sidewinder, the Viper and the Eagle are fantastic ships to fly in VR. They've just got that fighter pilot feel to them, the fighter ship type feel to them. Even though the Eagle is pretty much the same size as a 747, it just has got that feel of as though you're piloting a fighter ship, a fighter plane rather. Masood, thank you very much. Right, so we're here in the system we need to be in. We're going to do a bit of scanning now. So in case anyone's wondering, in case anyone's just joined, that this is the Road to Riches set up. Right, so most of these are already discovered because it's a known system. That doesn't mean we can't actually scan these things. And you can scan very, very quickly, which is Pretty neat, but Aquatic Borealis, if you get VR then you probably want HOTAS. Probably, but not necessarily. Rescanning known planets gives you credits. Not necessarily, no. You guys are probably exactly right there. We'll soon find out. Let's move on. That seems an extensive amount of distance there. Got 7 jumpers, I think. 8. So yeah, don't scan, or probably don't scan known planets. Most of them will come up, if they're unexplored, they come up in your navigation panel as unexplored. Ian Norton, yep, I'm on PC. Kevin Mobley, so we're overheating a little bit here. So you're catching up with the Distant Worlds 2 expedition. That's pretty good. There's no need to worry too much about Distant Worlds 2 going as and when everyone else is going. You can pretty much go at your own pace, which is the neat thing about it. How much damage have we got there? Fair old chunk. Something else to watch as well. Try not to do it. Jonty Campbell, awesome to see you here. I think I've seen you around for a little while, have I? Unless you're here and I haven't noticed, in which case I do apologise. But it's good to see you still around. I still see you on the forum from time to time. Casual Gaming, yeah, I'm doing fine. So yeah, as I was saying, it's good that you can catch up with Distant Worlds 2 at any time. For anyone wondering, if you've missed the launch, you don't need to worry. You just can head straight to the Omega Nebula and just carry on from Waypoint 2. Waypoint 3 is going to be revealed on Sunday. Carabundum, yeah, great to know. It's a nice fun little event. Curious to know where Waypoint 3 is going to take us to. Buck Rabbit, I don't think there's meant to be a mega ship on Distant Worlds 2. No, not as far as I understand it anyway. Right. So yeah, one of the problems with the early stages of anything in Elite Dangerous is things always take time, whether that's jumping or whether that's trying to do some bounty hunting. You can do bounty hunting, but if you're doing it entirely on your own without abusing the tagging system from the authority services, as we did early on, then even that can take time, because taking down ships in a stock Sidewinder, you don't get a huge payout, but it's all part of getting through the earlier part of the game. Hey there, Howls. Well, nice to see you here anyway. Yeah, having a mega ship follow along on Distant Worlds would have been pretty neat, but originally I think that's kind of what the organisers wanted to do with the carriers. The carriers could have been a nice addition, having a few fleet carriers coming along, but then it would depend on how far they can jump and how long it takes to refuel them. Wow, this ship does use a lot of fuel on every jump. I'm glad we went with the 2B fuel scoop and not the 1E, because I think we would have been sitting here a long time. The only trouble is the ship does heat up pretty quickly.
Warning, temperature critical.
So hopefully, as we're this far out, we should get some unexplored planets. That's what we really need. That's what we're really looking for. Nearly there. Vagabond, a new start again. Yes, but only briefly. We're just putting together a tutorial guide for new players here today. Basically, helping players get out of the Sidewinder. I know there's a bunch of players out there a little bit frustrated with being stuck in the Sidewinder. So it's just a guide on how to best get out of the Sidewinder by doing it in perhaps one of the more efficient ways. Soul Reaver, my opinion on the tools for the Road to Riches. I think they've overall it's improved the Road to Riches quite a bit. It means you earn quite a good chunk of money more as well. And it's easier for a brand new player because they don't have to buy the Advanced Discovery Scanner or the Detailed Surface Scanner either. You can just jump out there in a stock Sidewinder. As long as you've got your FSD upgraded, which means you don't have to spend the, what was it, over $1 million for the Advanced Discovery Scanner and $250,000 or so. $250,000 is it for the Detailed Surface Scanner, or $500,000? I can't remember now. So yeah, Road to Riches I think is great, especially all the more so for new players. Yeah, that's it. Thanks, Digi. I thought it was 250. I couldn't quite remember. John T. Campbell, thank you very, very much for that. Nice comment as well. Thank you. Andy Besten, thank you very much. Very kind of you. I'm glad you like the videos and the streams. Right, I think we're here in the system now. Condemned Pete, hello there. Have we got a load of... This Road to Riches lark isn't doing us too good here at the moment, is it? Oh, that's because we're in the wrong system. We've got one more system to jump. Looks like we're getting a whole bunch of named stuff. Metal Vinny, glad to hear it. Hope you're enjoying it a little bit more this time round. Right, now this hopefully is the correct system. It does help if we're in the correct system. Right, you can see some of these are getting their name as we fly past them. That's because the new scanner in your ship will automatically scan these things when you're in a certain range of them, which is fine. Robot, no worries, that's what I'll do from this point forward. I've got a whole new series starting up here. A lot of the older series, probably not too much help because everything's changed a lot now. So, yeah. Right, there should be a water world here somewhere, which is going to have a decent value of credits for us. But it doesn't really matter, we can scan all of these. The only things we don't want to scan are, or we don't need to scan, are asteroids and unidentified signal sources like that. So you know when you're over a planet rather than a unidentified signal source, because what will happen is you'll get these little arrow markers over the planets, which you don't actually get when you're over the top of signal sources. And you might as well scan the entire system while you're at it, because you do get a little bit of money for all the planets here, especially if you're lucky enough and they're high metal content worlds, which these are. Which adds a little bit of extra value in there. And this is basically the same functionality as the old detailed surface scanner, for those wondering. You don't need to fly over to these planets anymore to get the detailed surface scan of them. You can just, there we go, done. And we'll do another one very quickly. Quick as that. Which saves huge amounts of time. It looks like I've missed one there. What have I missed there? Ah, there you are. Hiding away down the bottom there. Hey there, Bacon. Yep, doing good today. How are you? FX, thank you very, very much. Thank you for that. I'm glad you like the videos. Right, so it's quite a large system here. Quite a few planets to uncover, but just think how long that used to take when you had to fly to each one in turn with the old system. Thanks again there, FX. A slight delay between when those things are coming in and when the alert comes up on the screen. A planet there? I don't think there is. So most of these are signal sources. There'll be a bunch more planets around here somewhere though. Oh, they were probably off on the other axis. Lazy Caruso, hello there. Nice to see you again. You know what? I can't find these other planets. Where on earth are they? I think I'm missing something obvious here. I want to scan the signal sources. Ah, that could be it. It could be here around the gas giant. Don't know how I was missing those. What do we got? A few more planets. Let's try and get the rest of these whilst we're at it. As we're very close to being there. So if you've got a detailed surface scanner, you can of course go over to these and launch probes at them and map them, but really, to be perfectly honest, the only ones I'd do that with are water worlds or Earth-likes or ammonia worlds. I won't really bother with the high metal content planets. Right, that's that system done. Let's move on to the next one, assuming it's not already named here. Hopefully it's uncovered to us already. Well, they're two very close to each other there. Luke of X, nothing happened on Distant Worlds 2. I'm in a new start here because we're putting together a tutorial for new players. Just how to get them out of the Sidewinder, and I thought you guys might find it interesting to watch this. In just a few more minutes, hopefully, we'll be able to get out and do a bit of deep core mining as well. Because there's been a few questions in chat about that as well, and I wanted to cover that, make myself a bit more money as well while we're at it. We'll just scan a few systems here, really. We don't need to do the whole lot. It's just getting a taste for how much money and how quickly you can make money just by using a stock Sidewinder and the FSS. We won't be doing this for hours or anything like that. No need to. Nope, totally fine, Luke of X. No problems on Distant Worlds 2. We're just resting up there on Waypoint 2 at the moment, waiting for Waypoint 3 to be revealed on Sunday, so I might not do too much more out there for the moment. Right, we got another water world here somewhere. Only 7 bodies. But what we'll do is scan these, and we'll go hand there. Trip over my words. Hand the data in. There we go, there's the Earth-like, is it? The water world, rather. Yep. Nice and quick. It's a shame there's not 2 water worlds here close together. But not expecting millions and millions of credits. Like I say, it's just a guide here just to give players the idea of how things actually work if they're new to it. Now, of course, if any of you got any suggestions on videos you'd like to see in the future, do let me know in chat, because I'm open to any suggestions there at all, and possibly something we could put together in the future. One more to scan here. Where's it hiding? Matt, how long do I stream for on Wednesdays nights? To about 6, half 6 or so. It's another 30 to 60 minutes maybe on the stream. Where's that other planet? There should be another one here. There we go. Right, now, you know, that's probably enough just to get the point across, I think. Let's see how much money we've actually made there. So we need to go at 20 light years away. That should do it. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to set all the data. Assuming there's a station there I can dock at. It looks like there should be. Paradise Decay. I'd like to see the best elite locations and ships to check out in VR. That's a pretty neat idea, that one. A vid on prioritising power systems would be nice. I blew myself up a few times opening hardpoints so far. Yeah, Albora 10, that's a pretty nice idea as well, I think. Royal Soul, should you pay 3 million more for 3 more bins in your refinery? It depends what you're mining. If you're deep core mining, you don't really need a large refinery. A video of my bugs and mistakes and things that went wrong. There's definitely something of that planned. I'm actually coming up to a 5-year anniversary very soon on at YouTube. April in 2014 is when I started YouTube, and this April is going to be 5 years, so I'll probably have a video of something along those lines around about that time. Yeah, a blooper reel, definitely. Okay, Adrian, I'll catch you soon, okay? Thanks for stopping by. Shark, what are you not touching? Right, let's see. We've got a station here to sell this data at. We'll see how much that we've actually got to sell. Yeah, well, that should do the job. Not too far away. It's quite deceptive, really, the Sidewinder, because it looks like such a small ship. And in the grand scheme of things, it is pretty small. But if you've ever seen those to scale videos, then the Sidewinder's actually pretty large, and you can see it's a good old size, with the pilot sitting in the ship there. Certainly bigger than most regular civilian vehicles anyway, a lot bigger. Yep, Zibadian, I'm actually 25 light years away from the last area I scanned. That means I should be able to sell the data here without any problem. It's a nice idea there, Robot. Sergeant Stubby looks like a flying bread box. Yeah, I don't think you can ever accuse the Sidewinder of being a good-looking ship. So 2 systems scanned, basically, plus a few honk blasts along the way without using the FSS. So I'm not expecting a lot of money. Again, the point here is just to see how much money you can make in a stock Sidewinder with an FSD upgrade. Just again to really help players out who may be wondering or stuck in that boat where they can't get out their Sidewinder. I know a lot of people manage to get out by doing missions, and some just pure bounty hunting and so on. But, you know, if some players are stuck, they're not finding those things the effective method for them, there are other ways, so that's what this is all about, really. As soon as we've handed this data in, we're going to swap out and start doing some deep core mining.
Cannot comply. Request granted.
So the thing that's taken the longest time in this particular scenario is the travel time. If we'd been able to cut that down, we'd be able to get the money even quicker. Dylan Biggs, no idea really. It's something I know I often forget to switch back on. The wing beacon being off by default seems a bit odd. Right, here we are.
Docking successful. Engines disengaged.
Let's see what we get. Probably not a huge, vast amount, but it's going to be more than you're going to get from bounty hunting in that same amount of time. So at nearly 1.2 million credits, that's plenty of money for a person who's brand new to the game. We've done that in an hour and a half with a lot of talking and a lot of side tracking, so we could probably knock half hour off of that. So a stock Sidewinder to a Sidewinder with a 2A FSD and over 2 million credits in about an hour is very manageable. So essentially at this point what I would do is just continue to do the Road to Riches for a little while. I'd probably go up to about 3-4 million and then maybe get a Cobra or something like that. Okay, so there we go. There we go. Cosmic Murmur. Personally, I don't align myself with any faction in the game. It really depends on what you want to do in the game. It depends how you mean by align a faction. I assume you're talking about power play there. Alright, give me 2 seconds and we'll be right back with some void opal mining. Not going anywhere, just covering the screen here so we can switch accounts. There we go. Hope. Yeah, there we go. Good. Robot, how to set up an instruction video on how to set control inputs up. Might be worth looking at actually. Right, so I'm mining in a Python here. And we're already in a void opal hotspot. Let's see what we got. We got some contacts. Federal Security Service, so we don't need to worry about them. Hopefully they're not going to take our little goodies. And we can straight away start doing some scanning here. So we're looking for some asteroids we can break open because we want to make a chunk of money. Brian, yeah, that's a quick method of getting in from the Sidewinder into a Python. So yeah, go away for 5 minutes and you'll see me very quickly do that special little trick that I showed everyone on stream, how to quickly swap the Sidewinder for a Python. It's a shame you missed that one. Right, so I saw earlier on in stream a couple of people asking the question of how to find the right... Oh, here we go. Someone's actually after my goodies. They'll probably start attacking me in a minute. Let's see if the security vessel helps out. Give me 6 tons of Alexandrite. You get 15 seconds to comply, and he gives me no time at all to comply. That's nice of him, isn't it? Very helpful, kind person there. Maybe the security forces will feel like taking him on. So are they nearby? 'Cause I've got no weapons. One of the reasons some people like to come out here in a Crate Mark II, because you have a bit more in the way of defensive. I certainly haven't outfitted this for combat whatsoever. But it's got a decent speed on it, reasonable anyway. Well, far from decent, but good enough to get away from there. It's going to stop if you just give me 6 tons of Alexandrite. No, you're not having it. It looks like the FDL is shooting at him anyway. Just as well. I wonder which one of the two is going to win that particular battle. Yeah, Brian, just like the Hutton Anaconda. I love how he's telling me this can all stop if you just give me 6 tons of Alexandrite, whilst he's shooting at the FDL over there. One thing I do find quite frustrating about the way this works is that I literally only just load into the ring system here. When you think the centre of the void opal hotspot out there is 3.5 megameters. Okay, so that's 3,500 kilometers. Yeah, so that's a significant distance. That means from this point here across to the other side of the hotspot, we're looking at 7,000 kilometers. Yeah, and I'm not anywhere near the edge of the void opal hotspot here, so the diameter of this void opal hotspot is a minimum of 10,000 kilometers. That's just the diameter here. Okay, so I'm a lone ship, a little tiny speck, not even a needle in a haystack. That's just popped up in the middle of this 10,000 kilometer diameter circle, and instantly, within seconds, you've got a pirate on your heels. How on earth do they find you? That's literally like, well, it's even worse than parachuting into the middle of the Atlantic or the middle of the Pacific, and within seconds a pirate just happens to find you because they just happen to be in the vicinity. He followed my low wake. Yeah, don't believe that, Sergeant Stubby. I was already here. You know, it'd been kind of different if I'd dropped in here from space. Even though sometimes you can be in a completely empty system and you drop into a ring system and suddenly, yeah, they follow your low wake into the ring system. Kind of makes no sense. Brian Lucas, thank you very, very much. Very much appreciated. I mean, I can understand why they put that in as a point, from the point of gameplay. But from the point of logic, it just makes kind of no sense at all. Right, so what we're looking for are the brighter coloured asteroids. Sometimes you can come across them very quick, other times not so much. Yeah, Darren Hold needing the scanners that the pirates use. That'd be pretty neat. They've got some pretty neat ones. Yeah, Nil by Mouth, that was security there and pirates, but you know, the same thing applies. How do the security forces just happen to be in exactly the same location? Raptor, thank you very much. Thank you, appreciated. So Chuck, low wake is when something jumps into or out to a location or an instance within the same system. High wake is when they leave one system and jump to another system. So it's when they go into hyperspace. Basically, low wake is super cruise, high wake is hyperspace. Vanswold, thank you very, very much. Thank you, very kind. Right, this here is a possible candidate. I'm just going to shoot a prospector into there just to make sure. I'm not entirely convinced this is what we want, but it looks about right to me. Hey, void opals. Nice. Alright, we're going to just go through these very quickly. Let's see what strength fissures we've got. Unfortunately, there's no high strength there, which may make this a little bit more difficult without the high strength ones. Let's see how it goes.
Detonation sequence initiated.
Okay, there's a chance that we may overbake this one. Yep, too low. Probably won't complete it. Although it come very, very close. Never know though, we might get too low. Optimal range, too low. You were spot on there. Fantastic. Shields up. Let's detonate.
Detonation in 10.
Love the sound effect here. Right, one thing that changed in the recent update that came out last week is that it no longer actually gives you a message of how many chunks have been loosed out of the asteroid. It used to actually tell you that in the info screen on the top right hand side of the screen. But since the update, it no longer actually tells you, unfortunately. But still, there was some rumours that they'd nerfed the payout from, not the payout really, but rather the amount of void opals you can get. But from what I've seen, it's still the same as it was. I know they did fix the multi-abrasion blaster bug, where if you used multi-abrasion blasters you could get multiple chunks. That's been fixed. But aside from that, I'm still getting the same amount of chunks as I ever was. Exactly, Tomiko. I don't think they've nerfed it. I think people are kind of getting their knickers in the twist about the wrong thing there. Let's try and get as many of these as we can. Now, I don't usually deploy the collector limpets until I've shot all the chunks off. It's not the optimal way, because if you're collecting at the same time as shooting these off, you do save yourself a bit of time. But the limpets have a tendency to try to get back to your ship by flying through the asteroids, and it usually means they end up expiring and destroying themselves. So the best way I've found to do it is just to simply shoot all the chunks off first, and then fire the collector limpets out and just sit here and wait for them to do their job. We just got a couple more. Yep, I'm vexed. Face planting is exactly what the collector limpets are expert at doing. Right, let's
drone.
Good, I think.
Cargo scoop deployed. Programming limpet drone.
Let's just head up a little bit here, and we should do just fine, I think. So I've already got some void opals from earlier on, and we've got some Alexandrite here as well. If it's going according to what it always used to be, we'll expect to see 14 to 16 units of void opals in that little lot there. Yeah, Darren, you've got it. Switched accounts. No, you spoiled the fun there. I was trying to convince the people that had missed me swapping accounts that I'd actually used that little secret trick to swap a Sidewinder into a Python. So Fearless, you're having trouble figuring out how to get Guardian technology. Now, I haven't got any guides on that, but I'll tell you who has. If you haven't seen him before, there's a YouTuber called Exidious. And what I'll do, whilst we're waiting for this, I'll go get the link to his YouTube channel. He has got some Guardian unlock guides. I think a couple of them are a little bit out of date because, there we go, one's ran out. Because the Guardian requirements have changed. But most of them are still very valid, especially if you want to use his Guardian FSD booster guide.
Hello.
Hello, there's Exidious right there. I'll put the link in the chat there. Check out that channel, and I'll put it in the other chat. Yeah, Yamix has great videos as well, Ash Poker. I don't think Exidious is doing Distant Worlds 2, Eki. No. Let's put another collector limp out there. So how come the ship is running so cold? Well, what's happened is we're in an asteroid ring system here, and we've broken open one of these asteroids and gone right into the core of it here. So it's actually a very, very cold area because we're right in the centre of a space asteroid. Space asteroid, love that term. But yeah, it's very cold, which is why the ship's frozen up. When you actually fly into the centre of one of these cracked asteroids, you'll see your screen or canopy start freezing up. Pretty chilly there. Hunku, you can transfer void opals between two accounts on the same PC, not by any direct trading menu, but simply by loading up both. You want to do it on the same PC, so what you'll have to do is multi-box. You'll need to load up both accounts on your screen at the same time, go to the same location with both accounts, and then you could jettison the void opals and collect them with your other ship. That does work, you can do that. But you'll need a PC that's up to running 2 copies of the game simultaneously. They're not particularly easy, but you can launch You can launch 2 clients at the same time. Tom Baven, it's not an exploit. Frontier have confirmed that they're happy for people to multi-box. In fact, I think their exact words were, who are we to stop people if they want to buy more than one account? Although I think you were saying that a bit tongue-in-cheek there, Tom. I do fully realise that. Right, let's go find another one. Where's that scanner gone? Now, if we're lucky, we might find some really close by here. Otherwise... Yeah, that's the only thing. Nil by mouth. Good point. If you want to run 2 copies of the game client, You basically open the launcher, load the first client, then close the launcher, open the launcher for your second copy, and launch the second copy of the game, because you can't multi-box if you keep the launcher open. Yep, Tom, exactly. It doesn't matter whether it's just the same as you point out, just giving it to your friends, giving void opals to you. It's not really much different transferring account to account. Yep, Matrix, you could use 2 Xboxes or 2 PlayStations to achieve the same thing. In fact, it's one of the nice things about playing on a console, is that you basically get infinite free Elite Dangerous accounts. You just create a new profile and you've got another gaming account. Right, let's see if we can find another crackable asteroid here. So sometimes you might think some of these are likely to be a crackable asteroid. They're very, very bright, but they're not quite what we're looking for. I'll put a bit of music on in here in the background, so let me know if it's too loud. Hopefully that's okay. Normally put music on early on in the stream, but didn't give it much thought today for some reason. So what are the characteristics I'm looking for in the rocks? Right, so basically the initial thing you'll notice, you do want to look for the light rocks, the bright ones. That is the first thing you'll be looking for. Obviously the brighter it is, the more likelihood it's going to have valuable objects in there. What you're looking for is a black grid or a black core inside that orange glow, so that you want really, really bright orange or verging on yellow, sort of fire hot. And then once you've done that, just look for it to have a black grid on it, like a black screen door type effect. And that should usually be exactly what you want. So Rio Creed, on PC you do have to pay for a second Elite Dangerous account. On Xbox and PlayStation you don't have to pay for a second account. Yep, you can also turn on the night vision, can help you see in the fissures, which is helpful, to say the least, although it's not a technique I personally use. Yep, another person there, Luke and I, saying look for rocks that look like chunks of popcorn, as most of the rocks that are crackable are similar shapes. Some of them sometimes are very close together, other times not so much. So Icky, yes, you would need to play for Xbox Live on the second account, but only if you want to go into online mode. If you want to play solo, then you don't need Live. At least that's how it works on the PlayStation. You don't need a PSN connection or PSN subscription if you only plan on solo on Elite Dangerous. You only need that if you want to go into private groups or open. So basically you can have unlimited solo Elite Dangerous accounts on the consoles. The funny thing is you can also play those accounts simultaneously. So if you've got one that you're, as long as they're in the same household, that is. You can play your main account on your main PlayStation, which and then have your son or your daughter or your wife or your husband or whatever play, or your brother, I guess, whoever, you know, any other family, play on another console in the house using the same purchased copy, just on another profile. Well, we're not finding too much here, are we? Yeah, Ryan, your pets can play as long as they've got the right sort of digits. If they've got fingers and thumbs, they should be able to play. I guess you can get custom controllers for dogs and cats, maybe. There's a market there. Game controllers for cats and dogs. Or you can just give them a mobile game. I think animals can play mobile games. Those games are quite simple usually. The good thing about them is that their nose works. They only have to use their nose to play those games. I'm in an Opal hotspot, Rio Creed. Your cats play Fruit Ninja, Mad Mags. There you go. I said it. Cats can play mobile games. My dog's too dumb to play any mobile games, unfortunately. Just Eat Mac. Yep, the PS4 controller works fantastically well for Elite Dangerous. Right, we're not seeing much here. I mean, you don't have to fly in a straight line. You can strafe around a little bit if you really want to. Personally, I tend to fly in a straight line when looking for trackable asteroids. Sometimes, like I say, they come up very, very quickly. They can be pretty common. Other times, not so much. Another thing I do is tend to fly above the ring system rather than inside of it, because you get a better field of view. Now, this one here is kind of what you're looking for. It's got the black grid on it. All of these have, but they're not going to be, it's not quite black enough. You have a kind of a deep core toward the centre of it, but that's kind of the effect that you want to look for, but just more so. Then again, maybe this one's good enough. No. Yeah, Sergeant Stubby, dogs are sweet but derpy. I can agree with that one. Come on, there must be some around here somewhere. That's a good candidate right up there. No, perhaps not. Star-Lord, 100% think that Frontier could do with fixing the limpet AI. But after all these years with them not doing it, I don't see it happening anytime soon. One thing you kind of know about with Frontier is that if they haven't fixed things after 2 years, chances are they're not going to fix things. Now there we go, this is what we're looking for. Feel free to take a clip or a screenshot here. That's exactly what you're looking for. You get the vivid gold effect initially, and then this like that, and then this different colour grid in the centre. And I'm not, to be perfectly honest, sure if that's a bug or that's, you know, whether that's intended. But that is exactly what we want. Yeah, one in doubt, fire a limpet out. That's a good thing. Void opals, here we go. Right, so let's see what we got this time. Probably no lows. No lows makes it a little bit more difficult. So let's hope I don't mess this one up. I may do. Normally I fire a high charge straight away into a low, and when there's no lows I tend to end up messing things up a little bit, but if we go straight for the average, that's actually not too bad. We'll have another average, and of course we only got 2 minutes to do this in. Sounds like plenty, but when you've got to manoeuvre around the asteroid, can soon eat into the time. Right, a couple of highs should finish that off now. In fact, those averages didn't do much of a different job to what would have happened had I fired 2 charges into lows. There we go, optimal yield. Perfect. Let's shield up and back off. Coffee and vapes, yep, that seemed to work pretty much perfectly, so nice. Right, so we want to detonate now.
Detonation in 10 seconds.
How many did we get just now anyway? Yeah, we ended up with just 10 void opals out of the last batch, which is a little on the low side. Right, wait for the asteroid to actually separate a bit more before we go in there. Melon, this isn't my Distant Worlds account, this is my main account now. A new start, Stowe, that was actually from earlier on in the stream. You missed that part? We're just doing some deep core mining now. So there you can see the ship freezing up now as we get into the centre of the asteroid, for those wondering earlier why the ship was running so cold. These are very cold spots. A cold spot inside the hot spot. Yeah, Star Striker, it's a wonderful effect there, isn't it? Can you compensate for errors by firing low into high? So Ryan, the way it basically works is that low fissures are weak areas of the asteroid and high fissures are stronger areas on the asteroid. So high fissures, high strength fissures can take a lot more damage. So if you fire a low charge or even a high charge into a high strength fissure, it won't do a significant amount of damage to the asteroid. Whereas the low strength fissures, on the other hand, are areas of weakness on the asteroid. So even if you fire a low charge into them, they will do quite a bit of damage to the asteroid. So that's basically how you balance it off. So if you want to do maximum damage to the asteroid, then fire a high charge into a low strength fissure. So I'm using a HOTAS to control the Python here. In case for you unvexed, you're wondering, I've got the roll and the pitch on the stick and the thrusters on my rudder pedals and the throttle stick. There's an analog switch on the throttle stick that allows me to control the lateral thrusters.
Cargo scoop deployed. Programming limpet drone. Programming limpet drone.
Tom Beaver, note you can't use multiple abrasion blasters now to get more than one chunk. They've patched that out. So the pedals are the... I can't even remember the brand. Let me see if I can get them for you. They're Thrustmaster ones. The Thrustmaster cheaper versions, they do the job. I wouldn't say they're particularly brilliant if you want quality pedals. But if you're just after something that just does the job, then they certainly do that. They just feel very plasticky and very... they make a lot of noise as you move them around. So the Rudder T-Flight pedals from Thrustmaster, they cost about £80 at the time when I got them. I'm not sure how much they are now. Yeah, still £80. They're okay, they do the job, but I'd like something a little bit higher quality, really. Devious Beard, okay then. I have a good time at work. And thank you for stopping by. Macho, what do I think about Ed leaving Frontier? I think it's really sad to see him go. I mean, I've been with Elite Dangerous ever since the start, so I was here before Ed come along. It was great seeing him join Frontier, and he made a difference to the community team. I think he pretty much was the community team right at the start. Oh yes, it's sad to see him go. I've met him quite a few times, and he's always fun to talk with. But I'm sure he'll go and do a decent job somewhere else. Who knows what company he's going to work for? It's going to be a pretty interesting one. It'd be pretty neat if it's a game that any of us are actually playing at the moment. Hopefully that'll be the case. Same with Dowell when he left. He went to work for Paradox. And I'm a big fan of Stellaris, so still get to chat with Dowell from time to time. So Endar, I don't know why he left. It's basically, I think it's just a career opportunity, moved on to another job. At least that's the impression I get. Darren, am I applying for the job? No. Yeah, Andre, the analog stick on the throttle really can make a difference if you're lucky enough to have one of those. But even still, a HOTAS without that is still pretty neat. Ash Poker, I haven't actually played Subnautica. I keep wanting to try it, but I never find the time to. Hopefully, we'll try it this year. Still a bright future for Elite Dangerous. Well, according to Frontier board, I'd say yes. They've actually gone into full development on the next paid expansion for Elite, which is meant to be a significant update. It is a paid update, so it's not going to be a small one by any means. So it's just a case of waiting to see what that actually is. Hopefully it's coming out this year anyway. What's the going rate for Void Opals? It's still 1.6 million, Ryan, but you've got to make sure you sell it at the right location. Right, I think that's the last chunk there. Then I wasn't counting, so I don't know how much we actually got there. It was on 46 previously, so that was quite a lot in that one. That's 17 chunks. Makes up for the other one being a little bit smaller. Fearless, yep, the next... there will be some smaller updates, I'd imagine. Though Frontier haven't said anything about those, I'm sure there will be. But Fearless, the next big update is a paid one. That's right. But that's how it goes with games, isn't it? It's always been that way. If you want a big update for a game, you've got to pay for it. It's been that way as long as I can remember. And I'm going right back to Spectrum and Amiga days here. Well, not so much, I guess, with Spectrum. They didn't really do expansions for it, but they definitely did in the 16-bit era. I think paid DLC has kind of given a bad rep to expansions, because you never really hear the term expansion nowadays anymore. So I think there's going to be a bunch of paid content, Raptor, from the impression I'm getting. And obviously I don't know. I know no more than anyone else. But there's going to be the big paid expansion, which will be coming out at some point, hopefully this year, but it could be next year. Frontier haven't confirmed a date on it. But that will be probably equal to a full price expansion, which people always call DLC, but I'm old fashioned. They're still expansions to me. Expansion is basically something that dramatically alters a game rather than just gives you a small update. There's also, I think this is just pure speculation, but when Chapter 4 was released, Frontier, onto the beta servers, Frontier accidentally released some little movie clips into the games folder, which showed some, what they were calling mission packs. So I think there's going to be some smaller paid DLC, judging by that, the speculation from the community when they found these little movie clips, and they're basically video clips from missions where an NPC character was talking to the player, giving them a mission and all the rest of it. So like a little mini campaign. The file name was called Mission Packs, so I suspect they're going to be paid. Fearless, I can guarantee you right now that Space Legs will be locked behind a paywall. Space Legs will be a paid expansion. Frontier have said that ever since 2012, 2013. That's that Space Legs, Atmospheric Planets, Gas Giants, all these things are paid updates. So it's not a case of, unless they've changed their plans, it's not a case of speculation on that part. I can pretty much guarantee you that Space Legs will be a paid update. But, you know, who knows what price, whether they'll charge the same as they did for Horizons, or whether it'll be cheaper. I guess we'll have to wait and see. I hope, really, kind of hope that they don't charge £40 for an update like that. Personally, I'd still think it'd be worth it, but as I always say with these things, value is different for everyone when it comes to money, so hopefully it will be on the cheaper side rather than the more expensive side. Yeah, at least you know, Fearless, it won't be such a shock. I'm just hoping it will be more towards the cheaper side rather than the more expensive side. Yeah, Tuplex, not £40, but $39.99. It could be. Cold P, best trading ship. It really depends how much you want to trade. If you still want a good jump range, you can, and you haven't got a lot of money, you can just do it in ASP. And ASP is a good all-rounder. Some people like the Python for trading because of the cargo capacity, but personally I found the jump range a little bit lacking. But if you've got the money, then go for a Type 9 because it's got the largest cargo hold in the game. Yeah, Rawbot, I think £20 will be a good price for a paid update. Raptor, I'm pretty sure that the Type 9 now has more cargo space than the Cutter. The Cutter used to have more, but they changed the Type 9, didn't they, at some point last year? I'm pretty sure the Type 9 has more than the Cutter. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, though. I'm completely open to being wrong on that. I know the Cutter was always the largest cargo capacity, but they gave another large a large optional slot to the Type 9, which I think made it a little bit larger than the cutter. Unless I'm wrong. Come on, someone can tell me. Thanks, Raptor. I'm not, honestly, that was my impression that the Type 9 is now the largest. But sometimes I get these things wrong, so... Oh, the cutter has 4 tons more. Okay. Well, thanks for correcting me on that then. I honestly thought the Type 9 was the largest now. Not by a significant amount, but I thought the modification to the Type 9 had made it that much larger. So only 4 tons in it, so there's not a huge amount. Thank you, Zebadian. Type 9, 788 units of cargo, and the cutter 792. So yeah, as for trading ship, to answer that question, if you want to go for a Type 9, that's good. Cutter, only if you've got the rank for it, obviously. Because it's not behind a grind wall, the cutter. Or the cutter is behind a grind wall, the Type 9 isn't. Right, I'm not sure we're finding another rock here. Yep, otherwise Raptor is spot on. The cutter is a better ship than the Type 9. I'm pretty glad they increased the cargo capacity of the Type 9 though, to be honest. Being a bulk trader, it should have at least equivalent of the other ships in the game, shouldn't it? Okay, well, it's not looking like we're finding much else down here. Raptor, a 1,000-ton cargo ship. Well, what I'm really waiting for is the Panther Clipper. I don't know if we'll ever get it at this point, but how much did that have in the original iterations? I'm going to actually check that out because I'm sure it was way over 2,000 tons. Panther Clipper. I can't remember off the top of my head. I know it was well over 1,000 tons. I'm gonna have to go back to one of the old websites here. Unless someone's answered here. Of course, just because it's got big cargo capacity in the old game doesn't mean it would have... Yep, that's what I thought. The maximum payload was 2,100 tons in the original Panther Clipper. So that's really the sort of scale I'd like to see happen in Elite Dangerous. Yeah, 2,100 tons. I was going to say 2,000, I didn't want to say it before I double-checked there. I mean, the Panther Clipper should ideally be too large to actually dock. Yep, Raptor, it should be too big for the mouse slot. That would be the idea. David Braven has spoken about that in the past. He was saying that at one point in the future he'd love to have ships that are too large to get through the docking hatch, and that you'd have to use smaller ships to transport between to ferry basically between the ship and the station. Zebadian, thanks for testing that out. So, according to your tests there, a shielded Type 9 trader has more cargo capacity than a shielded cutter. Of course, I guess it depends what shield you put on there, but 760 for a shielded Type 9 and 728 for a shielded cutter. Interesting. Yeah, Andre, I'd imagine that when the Panther Clipper does come into the game, it would be very different to what we had in Elite 2. In fact, there's loads of ships on the... Okay, both ships have the smallest A-rated shields. Thank you for checking that, Zabadian. Appreciated. And thank you very much aboard there. Thank you. I'm glad you like the videos and the streams. Appreciated. It looks like we're running out of space here for the space, but we're running out of void opals. We keep travelling and we're not seeing any. Right. Well, if we're not getting any more void opals or any more hot chunky asteroids here that are cold inside, I think we'll actually come to a stop here and come to an end of the stream. I think we've not done too bad. We managed to find quite a few void opals. I think probably close to, what did I start off with? 36. So we found about 30 void opals there, in addition to 30 I already had. So not bad. Cold P, thank you very much. And you're welcome. So yeah, thanks for stopping by everyone. I think we'll come to an end right here. I will be streaming again on Friday. And do keep an eye out for the other videos coming this week. There will be plenty more. Over on Twitch, we're going to go and raid someone. I'm going to see who we can raid today. Who can we go to? I think we'll do a little surprise raid on someone who hasn't got a lot of viewers today. I mean, we've got a few other people I could potentially raid, but it's nice to jump in on someone for a bit of a surprise here. Never know what we're going to get, but Kiki Bunny. So, I've not watched Kiki Bunny before, but let's go raid them anyway. So thank you very much everyone, very much welcome for actually, you know what I should do is give everyone a quick shout out. Thank you to Raptor, thank you to Vanswole, thank you to Board and Cold P, thank you to Jonty Campbell early on, thank you to Andy and FX Will and Brian Lucas as well. All very much appreciated. So yeah, we're going to go over and raid someone. Kiki Bunny. I'll catch you all soon. Take care.